Okay, I'm J-Walt, and what I do is virtual reality performances. What I've done with animation is to take it down to its fundamentals of time and space and build it back up again as a performing art form. And this comes after a couple of decades of doing real-time animation in movies and theme parks and places where they really didn't really use it as real-time animation, but it was always just a sort of pre-production kind of things. But I'm really drawn to a lot of the aspects of real-time animation, and that's why I decided to pursue it outside of the typical kinds of media, outside of video games, outside of movies, and even theme parks, which is I find has been a lot more expansive. Okay, here we are almost. It's got to get to the right screen resolution. So I'm going to talk about how my artwork, though, is exploring the infinite frontier. And here we go. Yeah, should just start that again. There you go. Excellent. Thanks. Just a brief talk about my show, Spontaneous Fantasia. I'm going to be doing a performance tonight at 9:30 in the Dabney Lounge before the after party, so I invite you all to see it there. But what I'm doing is real-time creation. I don't have a video here, but this picture summarizes the kind of thing that I do, which is to draw. I get up on stage and I draw, and using the technology that I created, my drawings become 3D worlds, geometric patterns, dancing figures, animated creatures, all in real time, all with the software that I've created to be able to kind of manage these objects and create narratives, create beautiful scenes with it by bringing the audience on a whole visual musical odyssey, if you will. And a lot of what I do, though, what I found, what I started off with, kind of a humble kind of just exploring theme and variation, but what I found is that I'm really tapping into something that I've identified as the God dream. And that is the idea of creating your own world, just kind of with the strokes of my hands, the strokes of my pens, and from the gestures of my hands, I'm creating my own world and infusing it with my own aesthetics and with my own morals, and even getting it to the point of it including surprises for me. I want to be surprised. I want to be exploring this. I want to be as involved with the fun of exploration as my audience is. There's this sort of myth has been around, or this meme of the God dream has been around for quite some time. Here's some popular examples. The Max Fleischer Out of the Inkwell series, this was a very common theme in animation for the first 40 years or so. The idea of drawing a character and it popping off the stage and coming to life. That's the term animation means, bringing something to life. Harold and the Purple Crayon, here he's really the main character in it, and he's creating his own universe while he's inside of it, and that's very close to what I'm doing. Also, Disney's Fantasia, not only Mickey with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, but Stokowski raising his arms and pretending to create the movie. Well, that's a fiction about this, and I think that what I'm doing is closer to it than anybody's really done before. But now the challenge that I face is the sort of, it's close to the information glut, but it's the idea of creating stuff, but then being able to manage it. And not only do I have a big software system that I have to manage by myself, but I have also the idea of creating things on the fly. I have to be able to manage these things in a way that is much more comprehensive. So this is a frame of a character that I draw, and he comes to life and starts walking around, and then I create the world around him. I'm creating all these particle systems. I'm creating all these objects and images, and the idea is to be able to manage that with a greater facility than people have had before, and that's technology to the rescue there. One of the things that I embrace with my performance is, since I'm creating stuff on the fly, I also destroy stuff on the fly too. Most of my performances I don't even record. People have kind of pointed out that that has a very Zen-like quality, or kind of like the Native American sand paintings or Tibetan sand paintings and stuff like that. The idea that you would create stuff, but not hold to it very much. I find that traditional animation is very precious in its you know, creating this artifact that's just so perfect, and I wanted to get away from that and be a lot more improvisatory. And just like jazz musicians, you know, to improvise means to not hold it so dear, but to really celebrate the endless variations that you can make upon a theme. So that means that there's a real tension in my work between the static or the fixed and the variable. And so I've got kind of the opposites here. Both of these they're tremendously useful on either side, you know, to have an object that's static. But I'm more and more embracing the variability of things, and digital technology is really something that that is much more on the virtual side, the variable side, where you've got essentially, you know, what we're looking at is configured bits, and as I flip the screen, it's going to reconfigure those bits to something else. So in computer, we've got object-oriented programming, and yet you've also got functional programming, and there's really strong aspects to combining both of those things. So I do that in my artwork as well. But embracing the idea of theme and variation, we start talking about pointing toward infinity, and that's something that I think I'm implying with my work. We really can't experience a physical infinity where we're finite beings, you know. Have we ever discovered an actual, you know, physical infinity? Well, you know, one could argue you can't, because, you know, well, what's beyond what you've already seen? But, you know, mathematically, we've been exploring infinities, and I put up here 3 examples of kind of what I think of as kind of stronger infinities. The first one is a repeating decimal, which is, I don't even think of that as really infinite. It's just a sort of a buzzing or a kind of an artifact of turning 1/3 into, you know, a rational number into a decimal. You just sort of get a weirdness of, you know, dividing 10 by 3. You get that kind of stuff. It goes on forever, but it's not very interesting. It's just 3s all the way down. Pi is a little bit more interesting, the second number there, because it doesn't repeat. And yet, I can guarantee you that when they find the, whatever, 10 trillionth decimal place, that it's going to be, you know, one of, you know, 9 or 10 possibilities. It's just going to be another digit. So it's not very interesting. If the universe were like that, where, you know, we know that all the planets, for instance, hypothetically, maybe are exactly like the kind of planets we have in our solar system, well, there would be no reason to go and explore the universe if it were that kind of shallow. But you know, it's definitely not. And so here's the idea of a you know, a made-up number that I have that doesn't just have 10 digits in it, that can have any number of surprises in it. This, to me, is a stronger, you know, infinity. There's more possibilities for what could happen within that sequence. So the idea of pointing toward, you know, infinite variation means, you know, continuing to kind of break the rules and go beyond that kind of you know, the expected sequence of things. So in the way that I am embracing theme and variation just from one stroke to the next is a way that it implies, you know, infinite possibilities. So not only with variation, but with the idea of transformation or the breaking up of sequences into unexpected kind of events, like, you know, you see an egg hatching, what could come out of that egg, you know, and there's any number of ideas that that one could express with an egg hatching that are just sort of nonlinear and irrational, to embrace what I think is really powerful about art. So in conclusion, there is no conclusion. It continues to be you know, pointing toward infinity, especially with what I'm doing. All of these images are scenes from things that I perform. Like this landscape is something that is created with theme and variations. Each of these are pen strokes, and then overall I grow the landscape, create the universe. one stroke at a time, but using gestural variations and stuff. So it continues to be something that I'm pursuing, pointing toward the infinite frontier with my performances. So I invite you to the Dabney Lounge before the after party to see my performance. And thank you very much. I'm J-Walt. Thank you.